Last up, we have Advanced Health. It was listed on the JSE in April 2014 and owns a number of day clinics in Australia, eMalahleni, Roodepoort and Soweto. It has a market cap of 288 million rand and has no PE, and it does not pay dividends. It's actually under cautionary because it's looking to raise capital from the market. It's very capital intensive, so it's pushing this day care hospital, which is a lot cheaper for the client. They've got about 11 in South Africa. There's none in Joburg. There's one in Pretoria. So I've never actually seen or been inside of one. Have you experienced any of them before?
Not to my knowledge, no. No. I think they've got a couple in Australia as well, PresMed.
Yeah, they've got three in Australia.
Yeah. I mean, this thing was actually listed back in the 80s as PresMed.
Yeah.
And the guy who founded it, a guy called Karl Grillenberger, he's the CEO of the company. So it's actually got quite a long history. But I think, as we said right at the beginning, Byron, the model is so good and so clever. Get people in, get them out. You don't have the costs associated with a full-on hospital. And moreover, given the positioning that Discovery is taking these days, more and more emphasis on the daycare clinics, I think in the longer term, this one has to do exceptionally well. It's very small, and as you say, there's a couple of cautionaries. They're going to make losses this year. And one shouldn't get too hung up, I think, on the short-term aspect.
Well, let's have a look at that price graph. It's been a bit of a sad story for the last year or two. It's a bit of a vicious circle for these guys because it's a very capital-intensive business. They are attempting to grow fast and look at acquisitions and build these day hospitals around the country, yet going to market at such a low share price, you're going to get diluted. It's probably pretty hard for them to raise the capital that they need at this stage.
No, you're quite right. So that is probably going to be an overhang at this point in time as well. But I think once they've hopefully got through this situation, then I think all of those positives are going to coalesce, and I think we're going to see this one looking quite nice after that.
So you think they're going to be able to grow themselves out of that rut?
I think so, because the nature of the business, the model is so different, and it's so compellingly cheap compared to the private hospital sector.
What's the relationship there with the insurers? Would you find the health insurers are probably happy to push their clients towards using these facilities because they're a lot cheaper?
Absolutely. And you have to convince the patient that it's in his or her best interest to go in for a day procedure rather than staying in. And I think most people are going to buy that. Nobody really likes to go into hospital. So I think
especially staying the night.
Exactly, it's a win-win situation. I mean, if you look at the kind of costs we're talking about, the overnight stay adds a whole new level of cost into the equation, from the hospital's perspective, from the patient's perspective, from the funder's perspective, everybody. So if you can take that out, obviously making sure that the patient doesn't suffer, then I think it's a wonderful model.
So you sound pretty positive on this one.
Yeah, I like this one. Notwithstanding, look, I would say it's more of a spec buy here because of all of the negatives we've discussed. But I think, look, I think it's a well-managed company, and I know some of the personalities, like Cor van Zyl, for example, the ex-FD, super guy, really knows his stuff. So, yeah, look, I like this company.
So hot.
I think it's hot.
I'm not going to be hot on this one, I'm afraid. I think the capital requirements are going to be pretty tough. And remember, if you buy it now, you are probably going to be subject to a rights issue pretty soon.